Hello folks, welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mack Jackson Jr. This is episode number 365 for September 4th, 2021. Cybersecurity Awareness TV is a show that helps inform you on today's news, interviews, and tips on how to protect yourself, your family, and your business from the fastest growing crime of the 21st century, and those are cyber crimes, folks. Again, my name is Mack Jackson Jr. I'm a cybersecurity consultant, speaker, business consultant, and my background is in law as well. And my programs and services help you and your business and your family mitigate the damages of cyber crimes. I would like to thank everybody who's been a part of our show, who followed us over the years with Technology Review and now Cybersecurity Awareness TV. And I want to thank all of you out there for being part of our family and participating in our sponsorships and also with your support. And if you'd like to contact me, I want to give you my email again, and it's still the same, mjackson@mjcc.com. That's mjackson@mjcc.com. Also, you can go to my website at mackjacksonjr.com. That's mackjacksonjr.com, and find information on cybersecurity awareness programs, training, and all kinds of tips and information you'll need to help protect yourself from these hackers that are out there trying to get your information. In today's show, folks, we have a segment called Cyber News, and we have a really interesting story that I want to share with you today on Cyber News, and it has to do with a teenage hacker, one of the most notorious teenage hackers that are finally being arrested and convicted on cyber crimes. And we have a clip we're going to be playing here in a few minutes regarding that. We also will talk about other hacking events around cyber news, such as ATM machines, folks. We think our ATM machines that we have around the world, there are over 1 million ATM machines throughout the world that we're using to get cash and money. But folks, did you know that these machines can be hacked? We will talk to some hackers and how these devices can be hacked. And then later, I'm going to show you in our second segment, folks, something that's really disturbing and concerning for all business owners, especially if you have an LLC firm registered with your Secretary of State's office in your state. Folks, in this video, I will show you upcoming in our program today how your company can be stolen within 45 seconds. We're going to talk about that as well, and what you can do to protect your company, your business from this type of theft. In our last segment, folks, we talk about tips on cybersecurity, tips that you can do today to protect your business and your personal privacy from these types of hackers. So to get started in cybersecurity news, what this particular issue is that hackers are prolific, and the increase of hackers has been rising all throughout the world, where these hackers and criminals are trying to get your personal identifiable information by going in and hacking into your emails, your bank accounts, and to other parts of your business to sell for financial gain. However, law enforcement agencies around the country and around the world are cracking down on these hackers and prosecuting them. And the clip we'll show you here, you will see how a hacker has been caught by law enforcement and the penalties, severe penalties, that he will get from his actions. And for now, we'll roll this clip.
17-year-old mastermind behind a massive Twitter hack that dupes celebrities and global companies out of thousands in Bitcoin is now headed to prison. Graham Clark took a state deal today and pleaded guilty to fraud charges. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez shows us why his freedom is not the only thing he will have to give up.
Do you swear and affirm that all the testimony you
Graham Clark turned 18 while sitting in jail. Instead of making plans for college, he is headed to prison for being the mastermind behind a massive Twitter hack.
How do you plead to those charges?
Guilty.
As part of the state offer, Clark is pleading guilty to fraudulent use of personal information, communication and organized fraud, and access to a computer without authority. In exchange, the 18-year-old is sentenced as a youthful offender and gets 3 years in prison, followed by 3 years probation.
Count 3 was the account of President Joseph Biden. Count 4 was the account of Elon Musk. Count 5 was the account of Kanye West. Count 7 was the account of Jeff Bezos.
Clark's plea deal went a lot smoother than his bond hearing did last year.
Audible, undockable.
Hackers Zoom bombed the hearing, causing constant interruptions.
I know you really don't know Madam like that.
And ended abruptly after pornographic images popped up.
I'm going to end this call.
Clark is accused of hacking the Twitter accounts of major companies and famous people like Bill Gates, former President Barack Obama, and Apple. Prosecutors say he and 2 others did it in an effort to scam users out of Bitcoin. They say the trio would urge followers to donate funds with a false promise that they would double the donation. And all investigators say he stole over $117,000 in virtual currency. As part of the deal, Clark will be banned from using a computer. Prosecutors say the one thing he's really mastered, but used it to do really bad things.
Count 9 was Warren Buffett. Count 10 was Floyd Mayweather.
Gloria
Count 11
Gomez,
was
Fox
Kim
13 News.
As part of the plea deal, Clark may qualify to do a portion of his sentence in a military-style boot camp.
As you see from that clip, folks, the teenager that was involved in this hack attack did some very devastating damages to citizens by going into their emails and causing havoc and trying to get people to participate in some Bitcoin scheme. Prosecutors around the country will go after other cyber criminals as well and indict them as well as prosecute them for their particular actions. We need to make sure that we protect ourselves from these types of events, and there's things that we can do to protect ourselves, and that's why you're here in our show. We'll talk about that later. But first, folks, there's another clip I wanted to share with you as well. This one regards a hacking attack of our ATM machines. That's right, folks, our ATM machines, where we go and get money out of, automatic cash machines, right? You never know that these machines that we have everywhere between inside of retail merchants, in our banks, and even on the streets, folks, they're ATM machines, and some of these machines can hold millions of dollars of cash. But did you know these machines are also or PCs and computers? That's right. Some of these machines use old operating systems like Windows 7 and Windows XP. In this next clip I'll show you, you'll see a report from a convention that we host here in Las Vegas called DEF CON, and where hackers are talking about how these machines are vulnerable. We'll roll that clip now.
Criminals are interested in return on investment. And the return on investment for an attack like this is much higher because you can target multiple ATMs without leaving your house. This is a home-based command center. Think of it as the IT technician for this crime. This is just a standard ATM. So I'm going to withdraw $40 from this ATM. Select English, fund PIN. I'm gonna make sure to protect my PIN. I'm gonna do withdraw checking for 40. We have 2 X-Force Red $20 bills. I'm gonna request $40 again. Let's see how much money I can get out. I'll take a receipt. Now, this time, in fact, if you look at my receipt, it also says $40.
From a criminal point of view, one of the great things about this attack is that the bank has no idea what's happened. The bank told the ATM to dispense 2 bills. It has no idea that the attacker modified the response and changed it to 10 bills.
And what operating systems do these generally run?
You see everything from XP Embedded, XP, Windows 7, all the way up to more modern variants of Windows.
So you're saying that the most vulnerable versions of Windows are deployed on thousands of ATM machines across the country?
Yes, you have a lot of ATMs across the country that still run Windows XP.
So the type of vulnerabilities that we exploit initially on an ATM are very common. ATMs are architected a very similar way to a home PC. In fact, oftentimes it may be more vulnerable because of the difficulty in patching ATMs that are distributed across a wide geographic area. Most of the ATMs don't have a support staff that's standing there, and if the bank has to send someone out to each ATM to install software, it significantly increases costs. So they're usually very conservative about which patches and which software they push out. This is the receipt printer. Has a standard USB connection, shows up in Windows just like any other printer. You could actually print Word documents on this. The same is true for the safe. The cash dispenser is also just a USB device. We've printed out our own money and stocked it up. Once the ATM is compromised, that's where it gets a lot more complicated. An attacker has to know how to communicate with the specialized devices. Each vendor has a separate set of hardware that they're going to be using. Every piece of software on an ATM has the potential to be a little bit different. So we create our own custom software when we're performing attacks. The attacker can monitor everything that's going on. For example, the attacker can see what's actually displayed on the screen of the ATM and also observe the network traffic. The highlighted text here is the magnetic stripe data from the card. You can see the 4,000 corresponds to the $40 that Charles requested. A lot of people assume that when an ATM withdrawal is processed, the bank issues just a yes or no response. But in reality, it tells the ATM how many bills to dispense. So in the response, it told the ATM dispense 2 bills, but we can modify it as the attacker, change that 02 to a 10 so that 10 bills are dispensed.
Do I need 2 people? Do I need you extracting cash and some attacker sitting in a remote location synced up?
Conceivably, he could do it from right outside the ATM, but it makes more sense because there's less risk to him being compromised if he can send a low-cost criminal employee to go pick up the cash for him. This is us taking control of the ATM. Now notice it goes out of service. Sometimes criminals may not want to put a card into the ATM for whatever reason, and they may just want to dispense money. It's often referred to in the industry as jackpotting. It doesn't even require a card. David is just going to remotely dispense cash. How often they're updated often depends on the volume of usage for an ATM, but an ATM like this can hold over $200,000. In fact, in certain rare instances, they can be stocked with up to $1 million.
And it's very difficult for banks to detect this in the short run because ATMs don't have a precise way of measuring how many bills are in the back. It's just a counter. It's really only if the criminals empty the ATM completely of cash that the warning bells go off. So a lot of the technology that is needed to defend against it are things that are already on the market. For example, having encrypted network connections between the ATM and the bank. While that's been available for literally decades now, it's surprising how many banks are still using insecure network communication.
When an ATM like this is compromised, it's the consumer that pays in the form of increased fees. So this actually runs a variant of Windows 7.
Is that common for ATMs?
Yes. So it's actually even common to see XP.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so when you've got something that basically puts out money like this, you don't want to mess with it.
As you can see, folks, ATM machines we all use for our convenience, but there needs to be some additional security surround them. And yes, the banking industry are definitely on top of this, and they are continually coming up with ways to protect our information, protect our data. But this clip shows you how hackers are always looking for vulnerabilities in our society, in our system, ways to steal from us. So we need to stay vigilant, and that's why I want to play that video for you so you can see what is happening and what is happening out there and what law enforcement and banking industry are doing to protect our data. So if you like these clips, folks, and like to see more of them, definitely contact me, Mack Jackson Jr. at mjackson@mjcc.com. It's mjackson@mjcc.com. And folks, we'll be right back after these particular messages. Hi, folks. Technology Review is a show that provides information on cybersecurity awareness, education, tips, and information to protect you and your business from the fastest growing crime of the 21st century and identity theft. But folks, this takes a lot of time and research. But this is where you come in. Be a Patreon at patreon.com/Mack Jackson Jr. and you can help us help you identify ways that can protect yourselves from identity theft and fraud. Hi folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mack Jackson Jr. In this segment, I want to share with you something that is really devastating to the business owner, and that's the way that hackers can steal your information within 45 seconds. Run this clip.
I've been a criminal for some time now, and let me tell you, it's never been easier to hijack someone's business. In fact, it's so easy, today I'm going to show you how to do it in 45 seconds or less. Starting now. First, you're going to log on to the Secretary of State website. Keep in mind that everybody's business information is public information. Let's look up the business we'd like to take right over here. Click on Amend List of Managing Members. As you can see, Raymond appears to be the owner of this company. I'd rather myself as the owner, so we're going to go ahead and change that. Make a fake name. I'll make mine Joe Crime from Stealing Stuff Street. There we go. Just make sure to delete Raymond. There'll be some text over here essentially saying, please don't be a criminal. We're going to go ahead and ignore that. Next, continue on and pay the $150 fee. Don't worry, later on you can just take out a loan under the company you just stole. Check out, and just like that, I now own this company. The best part is, they'll likely never notice you made any of these changes, unless they're subscribed to Company Alarm. In that case, they would get a notification saying someone had altered their company's information. This would be a problem for criminals like us, so make sure to steal a business that doesn't use Company Alarm. Thanks for watching. Next week I'll be teaching you how to...
Welcome back, folks. This is segment 3, cybersecurity news and tips that we can offer for you to protect yourself or your business from cyber attacks and cyber hackers. So as you can see in today's episode, there's been a lot of interesting stories showing you how hackers are always looking for ways to get acquired to your information by hacking into your bank accounts, by trying to take your emails from you, doing all kinds of things. And the question we always get is, what can we do as citizens to protect our data? Well, definitely, folks, there's some things that we can do, and I'm going to share a few of these things with you. And every week we'll be talking about these, and we'll make sure that you guys get these tips to handle your business. One of the first things is your credit report. Make sure that you run a credit report of yourself and your family at least every quarter, every 4 months. You see any suspicious activity on your credit report, definitely report it immediately. But folks, I also would like to recommend that you do something else with your credit. You also should lock, that's right, folks, lock your credit with the credit reporting agencies. Now, this is a process, folks, that basically locks your social security number with the credit reporting agencies, where no one can get credit using your social security number in your name, not even you. Now, it can be a little bit of a hassle if you're right in the middle of a major purchase. You have to unlock it, and you can do that as well. But now, because of all the hacking that's going on, especially the ones that have hit T-Mobile recently, with 54 million customers got their personal identifiable information stolen, it is recommended now that you lock your credit report with all the different credit report agencies. So that's number one. The second one, folks, I recommend is when you are on your smart devices, like your smartphones like this, just make sure that you have antivirus software, some sort of protection on your smart device. I've asked clients all the time, how many of you have antivirus software on your smartphone? And a lot of them don't even know what that is for a smartphone. They're used to it on their PC or their laptop, but not their smarsphone. Smartphone, folks, are nothing more than a mini version of your computer. So definitely make sure you have this information on your device. And the main thing, the most important thing you could do to get started in protecting yourselves, folks, is your passwords. Make sure that you use a passphrase. That's right, folks, a passphrase, not a password of your favorite sports team like the Raiders or the Las Vegas Knights. No, folks, you need to have a passphrase, something that's simple, an English sentence that you and your family could understand, that would make it harder for hackers to break into your particular systems. So definitely start that out. Not a password, but a passphrase. These are just some of the tips. Every week in this segment, we'll be offering other tips, and a lot of them we'll be repeating because I want to make sure you guys understand these tips and you can actually do them. And with that, I want to continue with adding just one more part of our show, part of it in the segment here. And this is our emails that we get some from our viewers. Some of the emails, I got two here that I want to share with you really quickly from our viewers regarding cybersecurity and tips. One of them comes from Leslie. Leslie writes to me with the email. She wants to know, how can they avoid fake friends on Facebook? Boy, that's interesting too, folks. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. What that means, folks, let's say you're on your social media, Facebook, and you get a request from one of your friends that has already been a friend of yours already on Facebook. You get another request. What I would do before you accept this request from this alleged friend is that you should search your friends list and see if that friend already exists. If the friend already exists in your search list, then I would suggest deleting this request, because more than likely the request that you're getting is a fake. It's a fake request. What happens is the hacker or the criminal, whoever you want to call this fake person, they have gotten a picture of your friend and created a fake account trying to get people to join this particular Facebook profile. And what happens is once they do, then they'll start sending them all kinds of spam information on loans and grants and information that's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with your original conversation with your friend. These are fake, folks, and definitely be very cautious about them. So again, in summary, if you get a friend request from someone that you think you already are friends with on Facebook, do a search first and see if they're already in your list. If they're in your list, then great, delete that friend request. Or you could do it the old-fashioned way, folks. You pick up a phone and call your friend and ask them, did you send me a friend request? Until next time, folks, everybody stay cyber woke and cyber secure. And again, you can reach me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, my website, MackJacksonJr.com, and find out information on cybersecurity awareness. We want to make sure that we're here for you to answer your questions. Until then, folks, see you then.